All right, we're talking about the cell now. So we're on the next level of organization. So chemical was the first one, and the cell is the next level. So this is the level where we have life, okay? So the cell is the structural and functional unit of life, of our bodies. Okay, we're just a walking bundle of billions of cells, basically. And we're going to look at the cell like in lab and here, and we're going to look at it generally, okay? But understand, and I think I mentioned this in lab, the cells are they don't all look like a circle with a nucleus, okay? They're going to be weirdly shaped. The blood cells are different from nerve cells or different from muscle cells, okay? So just be okay with the fact that some of them are going to look weird and not like what you think about as being a cell. So we need to talk about the cell membrane. And the cell membrane is important because, first of all, it's what separates the extracellular fluid, so the extracellular compartment, from the intracellular compartment. So intracellular fluid, okay? So we are not plants, okay? We do not have a cell wall, all right? So the cell membrane is not a cell wall. In fact, plants also have a cell membrane and they have a cell wall, but we don't have that. So don't ever call it a cell wall. The cell membrane is important because it's what we call semi-permeable. Semi-permeable just means it regulates what can go in and what can go out. So it regulates what comes in and what goes out. Oops. Sorry. So it regulates what comes in and what goes out. Not everything can come through the plasma membrane, okay? So its structure is key, and its structure is based around a phospholipid bilayer. So from the last chapter, you should know what a phospholipid is. So phospholipid is a glycerol with two fatty acids. One is saturated, one is unsaturated, okay? And then it has that weird phosphate group on the outside of it, okay? So, so it kind of looks like that, sort of, okay? And the phospholipid bilayer, bi means two, means that they are these little phospholipids that are lined up. It's a layer of phospholipids. And then down here, there's another layer. So two layers. And we know that this outer layer has that phosphate group, and that makes it hydrophilic. The inside, which has the fatty acids, the nonpolar tails, this area is going to be hydrophobic. So hydrophilic means loving water, and hydrophobic means fearing water, don't like water. Okay. So out here on the outside is going to be the extracellular fluid. This is the outside of the cell. And this side is the intracellular fluid. And the extracellular and the intracellular fluid, these are watery things. Okay, that's why they're next to the polar heads of the phospholipids. If we look at this picture here, I've pretty much drawn that. So here are the phospholipids, here and here. That's the bilayer. And then the outside, again, this is the extracellular fluid and intracellular fluid here. Okay, so the cell membrane is key. It's important. It has to be healthy, and it has things that kind of make it or help it to be that way. And you're gonna see, I've circled it here, you're gonna see things in here which I'm not good at drawing. Okay, so you're gonna see cholesterol in here. And if you remember, cholesterol was a lipid. It's the main steroid. This is a steroid in the body, and it helps to stabilize the plasma membrane. It makes it kind of waterproof. Okay, so it stabilizes and makes it waterproof. Sort of. Okay. So what else is it about the phospholipid layer? Okay, so there are also things, if this is a cell, so we're talking about a cell right here, right? Here's the cell, and this is a piece of the bilayer of the phospholipid membrane, okay? On the outside of the cell are going to be things like little sugar chain pieces that are hanging off of it. And this is a little one here. It doesn't really show it that well. They can kind of, stick off, they just kind of stick off here. They're phospholipids, or excuse me, not phospholipids, but they're little glycolipids, so sort of a glucose sugar with a fat, or glycoproteins, a sugar with a protein. And they kind of make the outside of the membrane a little bit sticky. And these little sugars that hang off are what make up what's called the glycocalyx. And the glycocalyx is a covering that's unique to each cell. So it's unique to a cell. So it's kind of like their fingerprint, and it helps for other cells to recognize them. Okay. Also within the plasma membrane are these guys right here. In my circle you can't see very well, but these are called plasma proteins or membrane proteins. And there's two types. There's the integral protein and a peripheral protein. So an integral protein is just a protein that stretches from the extracellular fluid all the way out to the intracellular fluid. Okay, so this is one here, this is one here. A peripheral protein does not go all the way through. So this is one here and this is one here. Okay, so those are the proteins. And these proteins are really important. They can act as channels, which make the membrane more permeable. They can act as pumps. They can act as enzymes. The peripheral proteins help to anchor cytoskeleton. And the cytoskeleton, which is these things here, that sort of gives the cell its shape and some stability. So these proteins are very important. They do a lot of important things on the membrane there. So the next video, we're going to talk about how things move through this semi-permeable membrane.